See, that's why Holly, how are you today? That's what I worry
Merry
about.
Christmas, Mitch.
See, when we get together for meetings, we go so off track, and everything is so painfully stupid and funny. Then I wonder if people would even understand where we went. And
And that's
but
probably
hey,
a good thing, but we're back.
but hey, yeah, it sure is a boy. We have in Texas, and it's been very Seattle. Like you used to say, because you used to live in Oregon, and it's
Oh,
very
yeah.
similar. But if like for the last 6 weeks, it's rare, but we've had basically nothing but rain. But today it's just perfect. It's beautiful and sunny.
It's today we're getting our last day of 81 degree high, and the rest is gonna we're now then after that's blistering around 90 for until November. And but we are starting probably the rainy season right now today.
Yeah, see, I'm not impressed. Well, first of all, the rainy season in Seattle was like it starts in October and ends in July. No kidding, it's that brutal. But when you say like we're getting into the 90s, I I hope you understand. Like people in Texas are like, yeah. So what's your
Yeah,
point?
well, 90s here, the feels like temperature is always going to be around 105. It's
But
there's
but with
always
you,
going the relative humidity part of it.
that's a good tie-in. I mean, an accidental segue to the episode because we are talking about the summertime pastime of baseball and
Yes,
how we've introduced the too much, in my opinion, automation via the automated ball strike challenge system, otherwise known by the painfully common acronym of ABS, which to you and I means anti-lock braking system.
correct, correct. Or
But yeah,
some
they
sort
like,
of a bowel syndrome, absent of bowel syndrome.
oh, ow, ooh, ugh. God, see, that's where I worry if people think that's funny,
Maybe that's what we have too much of in this world. Maybe it's not the maybe it's not the ABS system. Maybe we have too many acronyms.
oh God, ooh, boy. I'm telling you, because you're talking to somebody for the last 25 years. When I worked at CAT, they actually, because they didn't have the capability online like we did in my career, we got it. But so we had a 51-page printed catalog of what every acronym meant. And where I went for a tech company after I retired from Amazon, took that and said, hold my beer, because they've got acronyms for everything. But today it's I want to talk about because like I say, in my opinion, it's not like I'm anti-technology. Evidently, I'm not because it was my career for a while. But I think it sounds like because on paper the this AI system now to correct challenged balls and strikes sounds right. You can get every call right. So there's no more missed calls, no more arguing, no more guessing. And my first reaction was not that's impressive. It was that's a shame.
And I know mine was a little bit different. Mine was I was I was hoping first of all I want to see all the calls be right. I really do. I want to see the game.
All calls?
Well, I mean, you hate to see something. Look, if it goes your way, it's great, and you're like, oh, we caught a break. But it's like if it goes against you, it's rough. And
Yeah, yeah.
but if it was, I think some of the ABS has shown me that umpires are a lot more right than they are wrong. But the ABS
True.
has also showed me that sometimes when they're wrong, they're really, really wrong. And I think those outliers that we tend to get pissed about because that's not what ABS was meant in the spirit of when a guy challenges and it's like you'd have to have a micrometer to measure the space between the ball and the base. That's just a guy guessing, and then they give you the wry look like I have great command of the strike zone. And you're like you're full of BS. You just took a guess and you won. That kind of goes against the spirit of what ABS was meant to be, but that's the bad that you have to take with the good. In my estimation, but I see yours.
Well, I get it. I mean, like, nobody likes a blown call, and nobody wants a game decided by a mistake. And you and I have both been watching baseball. You watch a lot more games per year than I do because I can't honestly say I've sat
One or
through one or
two.
two. Yeah, you watch maybe 498 games a year more than I do. If you don't count October, in fact, I can't even watch a full playoff. It just takes so damn long. I just like watching golf. I can't watch 3.5, 4 hours of an
It's
event.
not that long anymore, bro. It's
Well,
a
now,
game's under 3 hours. A game's way under
why?
3 hours because
Why
of
is it?
the pitch clock.
See, oh God, there's more technology. I forgot about that. And the
But the
pitch
pitch
clock is
clock's a
okay.
good thing. The pitch clock. I mean, what'd you get with that 3.5, 4 hours? Did you get more baseball? No, you got a pitcher walking around the mound every pitch, scratching his nuts, spitting on the ground, taking a minute between pitches. It was agonizing. And the pitch clock made him get on the mound and pitch. Now people are going, oh, pitchers are hurt because of the pitch clock. And it's not technology. Pitchers are hurt because you ask them to throw 100 miles an hour on every pitch, and the body's not is not made to do that. That's
Well,
why
I
they get
guess
hurt.
because you and I also, from a cursory standpoint, discuss other potential technology that maybe we should have let happen, like lights at Wrigley Field. Like you and I grew up in the Chicagoland area, and we went to Wrigley Field, and Wrigley Field did not even have stadium lights.
I hated it
So,
when they put the lights in. I
as did
hated it.
I. I remember walking
But
around with a t-shirt that said "No lights at Wrigley" with my girlfriend at the time, and we were both like, "Hell yeah, let's just squeeze some beers. It's gonna be a great summertime game." And then you go home.
I've still only been to one night game, and I hated
I've
it.
been I haven't been to any.
I went to one. I went to one and just really disliked it and liked it. And you know what? There's something about Friday at 1:20 at Wrigley. You know, it's like you always know because if it's a Friday, if they're playing the weekend at Wrigley and the game's on a Friday, the series starts on a Friday. You know, it's all day games, and it's just. But it used to be every game, and but that's where the background to the big Lee Elia rant that for those of you who aren't Cub fans, Google Lee Elia rant, and one of his phrases in his rant was 85% of the people in Chicago work, the other 15% are here.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I see
Because
just
they didn't have
then like
lights.
then like now I'm nodding my head. I'm like, yeah, that's about right. But but the problem is going back to technology is if you fix every mistake or every what you see as maybe shortcoming of the game, what else are we fixing? Because if you get every call right, like you were saying you wanted, why does it feel like something's missing? What did we just take out of the game to make that happen?
Well, I guess the the uncertain thrill of spontaneity and the incorrectness that can happen with that because things happen so quickly. And I think what we've taken away is things that happen too quickly for the eye to perceive. And some of it is just plays that happen too quickly, and some of it is deception, like catchers framing pitches, which we talked about before,
Let,
which is a
let, let,
cheat, but it's
let me get my
something that's
analysis
also
glasses on.
considered a skill. You
This
know,
is
so
getting
they
serious now.
all all of your sportscasters when they talk about catchers that one of the defensive skills of a catcher is framing pitches, and that is the art of cheating. And
Well,
we want our umpires to call us right, but then we try to
but
deceive them.
it's up to the umpire. He's not cheating. I mean, I think you're harping on or focusing too much on this cheating aspect,
We assume,
and
but and I do assume that the umpire's not cheating. When Angel Hernandez was an umpire, I couldn't say that. I think that that's a good possibility that if I mean, you're never going to prove it now because he's gone out of game, but he called pitches so poorly and so frequently that
but
you could easily make that connection.
but I think what I miss is like I mentioned, I watched the in the morning. I'll watch the Yahoo Sports highlights of the Dodgers game. Been a Dodgers fan all my life. I can explain why, but I've done it before. But I see where they'll question a call, and the call will be made. Everybody's watching for the camera to make the computerized call. That's really because there's no tension anymore. But
Hmm.
it's the only tension is like the modicum of excitement you get to see what the camera says,
That's right.
and the camera set, and then and the players they showed the dugout, Teoscar Hernandez and Freeman just shrugging their shoulders. Yeah, that happened.
Well,
That's the tension is gone.
I think that what this one is the tension's gone, but this is really the only replay that is 100% accurate. And
So,
I've not seen a mistake made yet with the ABS system, but I've seen mistakes made. Oh, I don't know how many times I've seen calls blown that were that were reviewed and the call was wrong in the review. And I'm like, well, how are you doing this? You have to have more angles than I see that here that
Now
show
you're talking
something.
about instant
Well,
replay
yeah,
review.
instant replay to challenge a call at a bag or whatever. I've seen calls overturned that were clearly wrong, so
Yeah,
even
and then they
instant
do it
replay doesn't
anyway.
get that right.
But
But
that's the but your point about instant replay is again, that's just my point is it impacts the game because it corrects you're correcting spontaneity out of the game because you've seen it in football, you've seen it in baseball. In football they pause the touchdown celebration. In
Mhm.
baseball they interrupt a home run trot. So the
Well,
crowd freezes during reviews. So now emotion comes with I guess an asterisk because until the headset guy confirms it.
it's true. But I can think of two things and both are they're polar opposites that would have been affected by ABS in a great way. I forget the gentleman's name, but you'll remember the guy, I don't forget what team, threw a no-hitter, ground ball to second base was the last play of the game, I think, and the throw over to first, the guy was out by a step and a half. First baseman umpire called him safe. He was clearly out. There was no challenge, and that took away a no-hitter. And that was just a travesty. And the umpire the next day went over and apologized. To this day, he feels horrible about it, and there's nothing he could do to make it right. And it's funny that baseball wouldn't even go back and make it right when it was such a travesty and so wrong. And then you look on another opposite end of it, when Kerry Wood struck out 20 people in a game, if ABS was there, he wouldn't have struck out 20 people that game because there were a few strikeouts where the pitch was clearly 6, 8 inches off the plate, and it was
True,
called a
true.
strike.
But there was because I remember those moments. It was like because like for example, like it gets to the third inning, things starting to get a little bit, mundane. Things aren't really happening. But if you get like say, I don't even know what inning it was, George Brett's home pine tar incident.
Right?
And then
Yeah.
so now you remember the chaos. It's just like because now everybody's alive in the stadium and at home you're like, "Fuck yeah, did you see that? Oh my God, look at he's losing his." So nobody remembers the rule. Nobody really knew the pine tar rule until afterwards. But that's because Brett came out of the dugout like a man possessed. So but that's the moment. That's what I'm talking about.
I think that you know what we as a
Old
flawed
old
animal.
old dudes. Okay,
No,
go
just
on.
humans are flawed animals. We as a people prefer controversy to transparency. We do, because controversy is something that can be talked about at a bar with your friends, or none of the sports arguments
True,
are all,
true.
it's point counterpoint gets whatever conversation is wrong, but we love a good controversy, and you can't have that with transparency. And I think the game changes forever if it becomes first of all, my own personal opinion, I know it's different than yours. I think all pitches should be ABS called. Just say it right into the umpire's ear, let him make the call, but it's actually coming from
Then
the
why is the umpire
computer.
there?
What's that?
Then why is the
Well,
umpire there?
well, if you're as long as if you're still only making the challenges as far as challenge a replay or whatever to a game, then he's still got to make calls at the plate or whatnot, and they're still keeping the integrity of the game, keeping things moving, timeouts, whatever. But I mean, that's my only question is if you're going to use it, why are you picking the times when you use it? And when if you're going to use it, why are you limiting the amount that you can use it? Well, it's important to get it right so many times a game. It's
Yeah, but
important to be able to
why?
get the calls right so many times a game. It
And
doesn't,
when
that
we,
sounds hollow to me.
but we've got that now. We got to getting right a lot. We've traded. Now we're trading AI for we're trading. Because people like you say appreciate the imperfection. And like even just talk like as you're saying it, I'm kind of waxing philosophical, sitting at Snug Harbor in Marseilles probably or Johnny's Tap, and just talking with my buddies. Did you see that game? Oh, that was bullshit. Maybe, but my team won. So that's you're not saying that, but nobody's getting the system now. The system tells us the answer, and we move on. So
It
correct
just
call.
sanitizes it. It just sanitizes a game that's been baseball is a it's not just a game. There are many of our listeners to the several casts that we've done about baseball that maybe don't
A
understand
few.
that. But for certain guys, it's more than a game. There's a life thing about baseball. I remember the first game I went to after 9/11. I remember a special game that I watched with our friend Flo, where
I knew you were going to go Jeffrey D. I knew.
Cubbies were down. The Cubbies were down 9-0, and we tried to leave and we couldn't get out because our car was blocked in. So we went back in. They came back and won 10-9. It was the greatest game I've ever seen in my life. You know, and as we see this romantic uh, culture of ours, this romantic game. We don't want to see changes to it. We don't. I when COVID hit and I knew we're like, well, this is the year we're just gonna use the DH for the rest of the year in the National League. I'm like, well, that's it. There it goes. Once you let the vampire in the house, you're never gonna see a pitcher bat again. And there is something that was romantic about seeing a pitcher bat because there are certain pitchers that go
Yeah,
out there and kick ass. Carlos Zambrano and many others. Even Bartolo Colon hit a home run, went deep.
it was
And
fun. You know, watching
yeah,
like Rick Sutcliffe was a good
yeah,
hitter.
I hit one in the playoffs. But it brought, but to me, that is more of a change that I don't like than the ABS stuff. When you take away the ability to manage a game, I hate that. I'm even better. I'm even okay with going extra innings, starting a guy on second base because there's nothing I hate worse than a 15 inning game. Oh my God.
But
It's like,
you did love the World Series last year though when they went 19 or 18 innings.
yeah, you know what? I gotta tell you, I probably fell asleep through some of it though. And Allison and I went to a game in Miami with the Cubs and to see the Cubs, and we ended up having to leave in the 17th inning. I'm like, my ass hurts so bad, I just can't sit in the seat anymore. I'm done. I'm done watching guys ground out, you know, 3 times and then go back in and ground out 3 times, and the
Yeah,
next team comes out.
but that's another issue. I think now it's like have this expectation, like you say, you think every pitch should be called by ABS, but maybe that's part of the bigger issue because there's a generation I think upcoming that expects or knows that this precision is available and they want it. So it's going to be like you say it's lacking of the we're uncomfortable with ambiguity. It's like we got the GPS, we got algorithms, we got AI writing. We've got reviews for every damn restaurant, so there's no taking a chance. It's always constant optimization. We're just engineering the uncertainty out of life. We just released an episode maybe 3 episodes ago as we've engineered creativity out of our life, and now we're engineering uncertainty out of it.
But some of engineering the uncertainty is a good thing. Not everything, but some things. I think that we have to decide whether it's important to get it right some of the time or all the time. I mean, that's a big thing for me. Is just answer the question: is it important all the time, or is it important some of the time? And and then maybe an answer is made from that. If it's only important some of the time, then I don't think it should be done at all.
Yeah, yeah.
But if it's important all the time, but if it's important enough to do it some of the time, then you should probably be doing it all the time. And that's
That, that's
where, you
that's
know,
a very different argument. It
our
is, but
our game has changed so much. The game that we loved is gone. It's
we're
the
letting
game.
it we're
No,
letting it get away.
you're never going to see Fergie Jenkins pitched almost 300 complete games. And you're
Yeah,
and
yeah. I've seen that too.
and
The
you're
limiting to
never
6 innings now.
you know, we look at people sit there and this generation thinks Mariano Rivera was the greatest relief pitcher of all times, and I'm not arguing maybe he was, but when you start out with a clean plate ninth, it's a hell of a lot easier to save a game than when Bruce Sutter came in the seventh inning with people on base and had to pitch 3 innings to get out of it, and that's what every relief pitcher had to do back in the day. So,
That's why I think yeah, everybody was so impressed when I can't remember the guy's name on the Dodgers, Yashinova or Like last year in the World Series, he came back and it was like pitching
Yeah,
the
yeah,
next game.
yeah. I
But
saw.
but oh, but now it just I mean, well, first of all, let me get sidetracked real quick. What's the indication for the umpire that you want to challenge that call with ABS?
Have to
In
tap
case
your
nobody
head.
gets, yeah, in case nobody sees it,
Yeah, have to
I'll,
tap your head. Oh, sorry, you have to tap your
I'll if you're
head.
listening and didn't see
Yes,
that,
if you're listening, hit yourself in the head.
you have
And
to tap the top of your head. Let me ask you, how soon do you think it's until that denigrates? Where somebody does like a backflip out of the dugout and does I tap my head,
well, and
sir?
it has to be within 2 seconds too.
Okay, still, or let's get a little bit more innate. So like a pitcher pulls a specific like thing he's got stashed in his pants, so you just smack on his head with a plastic shovel. And I'm just saying, I'm just saying it's going to be like you bone it.
Well,
It's going to get out of control.
I think the pitchers have proven that they're horrible at using the ABS system, so they don't make not many pitchers
Yeah,
make the call because all
I was
pitchers
wondering
think
about
everything
that
they throw is strikes.
because you
You
can't.
know,
Who can challenge the call? Just the catcher?
a pitcher, catcher, batter.
Yeah, because I
That's it,
was
and
wondering, like I said,
they have to call it right now
the
because
few
that's why
highlights
they.
I've seen, and I'm sure like coaches are like, I feel like uh, Dave Roberts is telling the pitchers on the Dodgers, don't you make that call. You trust Will Smith to make the call.
I think a lot of managers probably tell pitchers not to open their yap when it comes to doing
Yeah.
that because listen, if your catcher can't make the call, then who's gonna make the call? They're the closest person between the batter and the plate, the back of the plate. The most common missed call by an umpire is low in the straight downtown in the strike zone. So that's if a catcher doesn't know where it is, if it is or it isn't, then nobody does. And that's always the one pitch I can forgive the umpire because that's the one he's naturally blocked from is
See that
that.
just your phrasing makes me happy when you said straight downtown. So it's like a lot of people like, they've never, probably lived that, if nothing else, that kind of wording or phrasing for the game. It indicates like a passion and a respect and a almost a reverence. So I'm not saying I'm nostalgic. I'm not nostalgic for missed calls. I'm asking whether or not removing all friction removes part of what makes the game feel alive.
No, I don't think it does. But I don't think it's our game anymore. And I think it's a weird thing is once you let the genie out of the bottle, you can't stuff it back in. Just like there are several aspects to baseball now that I don't dig, but I don't have any choice. And so that's just me. I can choose not to participate in it, but I also think that some of the things that are involved now in sports make me question the validity of competition, and I should never have to do it. That
Yeah.
should be beyond reproach, you know.
It goes into quite a few things because I don't think this is all about baseball. I think because if you and I want to get, more ethereal than people think we can manage, which are probably true, but I think it's about something else because we've got to, we have gotten obsessed with fixing things. Like anything that's messy, fix it, or inefficient, fix it and smooth it out. But we never stop to ask what are we losing in the process, I don't think. A lot of things, times, God, I just saw it yesterday a design engineer. I don't know because there was a joke when I worked at CAT. If the machine's running well, then it doesn't have enough features. So it's like, and engineers were like salivating, like, "Ooh, I can fix that."
It's like Daniel Cormier on UFC. He's like, if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough.
Almost like because, it's like not every it's because we're so busy fixing things we don't notice, like I say, what we're losing because not everything that can be fixed should be fixed because sometimes the flaw is the feature, and that goes back to umpires arguing. Tell me though right now what I just said. I talked to you, I texted to you like last week. We started texting about this episode when I texted Popeye Don Zimmer. Tell me, didn't you picture that little butterball tripping or falling out there when he was arguing so much he tripped
Oh,
and fell backwards?
well, no, he got thrown down by Pedro Martinez.
I know, that's hilarious. And we're still, how many years ago was that? 30 years? And we're still talking about that today.
It's There's its thing. It's cultural place marks in our lives, different things that's happened in the sport. There,
Yeah,
remember?
but sometimes that's what makes it worth watching. Sometimes the mistake is what makes it worth watching.
Yeah, yeah. I, so, not connected. Favorite game or favorite sports event or thing, and do you remember where you were when it happened? Like
Well,
for
for me, it's
for baseball or
oh for
something.
baseball because you have me. I was thinking Bruce Jenner in the Olympics. Let me think. Favorite thing for baseball. I'll tell you right now, it's well, I hate to say it because the first thing that came to mind was the fact that we couldn't go to the game because
Oh,
I had Toad Blue, who was an umpire for another team, and I was friends with Chucky Blue, and who was on that team, but they invited me to go to the game with them. And I think we didn't have Larry Cody, my coach for the Dodgers, with us, but we had another coach, and we drove all the way up. We didn't have tickets. In the station wagon, we're having fun, just ha ha, baseball. We can't wait to get. It's a beautiful day, but we got there and they're like, tickets are sold out. They're like, well, got to go home. And that's for what some
oh,
reason that I mean, it was a beautiful day. We were parked outside of left field in Wrigley. We couldn't get out of the car. They went to the ticket counter and sold out, so we drove home. But still, that memory of driving up to the game and the spot and the fun we were just imagining, and we weren't even that rocked on the way home. We were having more fun.
that's
So
terrible. It's like going to Disney World and only getting to like the Donald parking lot and then turn
yeah,
around going home. For
I mean,
I'll
for
never
me
forget.
that might have been 1970. So just people know they know that for context, that was 56 years ago.
I'll never forget the Sandberg game because I was sitting in my
Oh,
grandmother in Kentucky's kitchen eating lunch, and my dad was there. The only game that it was the game of the week, so it was on nationally, and my grandmother didn't have her hearing aid in, and I was like up just howling, screaming on the second home run that Sandberg hit off a Suter. And my dad hated Bruce Sutter until he became a Cardinal. Then he loved Bruce Sutter, and I love Bruce Sutter his whole career. I just was really happy to see Sandberg take him downtown twice, but that was pretty crazy. And then I'll never forget the first game after 9/11 because we went to we had season tickets. So there was actually, there were a few games that were canceled, like two or three canceled. And then the president came on and said, look, we got to start getting normal. So they're like, start your baseball, start back
yeah.
up, you know.
Boy, that was a, but it's like it's going to get down to again, like, because this also correlates to some of our favorite baseball movies. And you're going to talk about the
Mm.
Field of Dreams speech with, I can't remember, James Earl Jones. And
Yes.
he's like, things go by, pandemics go by, and industry wars go by, but there's always been baseball. It's like a steamroller. The history keeps going, but always baseball's been there. But my point is now, and this might sound like I'm closing it because I am, but but now we're getting baseball with perfect calls. No more arguments, no more chaos, no more losing your mind, and almost everything's right. Everything's getting controlled. But if nothing's wrong, nothing happens. And if nothing happens, why are we watching? That's my point.
If you want to fix something, fix the $15 tennis ball size can of beer. Fix
Well,
that. Fix that thing.
fix
Fix
your analogies, because how is a tennis ball the size of a beer?
No, a tennis ball can. The beers they're like 24-ounce, 26-ounce beers. The parks now like Wrigley has, they have to be made specially just for the park. I've never seen cans exactly that size in the
A
wild.
tennis ball beer?
Yeah, tennis ball, a
Oh,
ball,
the can, the tennis ball
yeah, the
can
can
beer.
the tennis
Oh,
balls come in.
oh, yeah, yeah,
That huge can, the size of a can of beer, and it's like they want $15 or $20 for that
yeah.
for Budweiser.
Well, because that's like, and I'm telling you, since I moved to Texas, Texas can't sell anything. They can't sell 12-ounce beer. It's always minimum 16. But I go to, where was I recently? It's like, oops, a gas station.
Ah,
But, they don't sell. I mean, the 24-ounce beer is a ridiculous quantity of beer, first of all. Uh, to have, what was it like when we would like go to the game out of Wrigley? It was like $7 for probably a 12-ounce warm old style.
it was. I don't know. I think it was a little bit less than that. When you and I went, when we were the last time us guys went to Wrigley and we sat in the bleachers, I believe beer was like $1.85.
I think you're
Some
thinking of
because
gas, and that might
no,
explain a
no,
lot.
gas was that high. It was in Chicago. But and I remember us tipping the beer vendor on the first beer, and then every time he came down to sell us another beer, our beers had a pile of ice sitting on them, and he'd swipe the ice away off it onto the other beers once he
Ah,
got to us and give us the cold ones.
see,
So
those are the nuances I'm telling you. And we always could count on, God, even sitting out in left field because we could see the whole field so well. And you see somebody charging out of the dugout, or they just we could see the strike zone. And if somebody made the wrong call, the ump, we were like, "Mother, what the fuck?" So,
I
but now we don't get that. We wouldn't get that.
Yeah, now at home, I watch it and I see where they go, oh, because here's what they do, and I hate that they don't let the announcers see the box until the replay, and I'm like, and the announcer's like, oh, he caught the corner strike there. I'm like, what are you, an imbecile? And you know they're gonna challenge it, and then they're gonna go, oh, we're gonna challenge that.
Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, and God bless the umpires sometime because I've seen those challenges that are like 0.2 inches. Like, how do you expect?
Oh, this was in I think it wasn't in a real game. I think it was the end of no, it might have been a real game. Uh they made a challenge to the umpire. He didn't turn his mic off quick enough and he goes, please let me be right. He said, "Oh," and it came back where his call was like, he goes, call confirmed. He was like, I just
Yeah, and you
can't
can
take
tell
another one.
they when they get wrong, they just are not pleased with it. They're
Oh,
like,
he missed a couple of them that were that were full ball in the zone. And okay, so that to me, I think it's an educational opportunity for the ump. Don't pick
yeah, yeah.
one side of the catcher to eye from. Put your head right over the catcher's head and see down the middle of the plate because if you look over one shoulder or the other, you're going to have a blind side. And you know
And if
that
you think the umpires are looking at it as a learning opportunity, you're sadly
No,
mistaken.
they don't. I don't really know what they're looking at because, like, CB Buckner is umpires who's not many people like. He's a better caller than Angel Hernandez was, but he's missed his share. He's come right out and said, have ABS call all of them. And then there's other people that say, don't do it. I think that the thing that I worry about more than the ABS being called is that we have an instant replay system and people have multiple angles that we don't even get to see and they still clearly make the incorrect call. I've seen that happen a lot on instant replay.
Well,
And
I don't want to sound like I'm using a poor analogy, but I like to call this ABS a swing and a miss. You get it right. You get a bunch right for a year. We tried it, but we think the downside is such that we're going to go back to just calling balls and strikes, and let's have some more fun with this.
I'd be fine. I'd be fine with it not being there. I mean, the one thing that I was critical about at first, but I think it's made the game better is the pitch clock because it's also brought some excitement to the game. Pitch clock and the number of times you can throw over to first because it's brought excitement in the game
Yeah,
via people will run a little bit more. And I love to see the go-go part of the game. The game has changed. I mean, back when it wasn't too long ago when you would look at a guy named like Adam Dunn who batted 200 but hit 40 home runs, and you're like, well, you're a useless piece of meat on my team because you're batting 200, and when I really need you, you strike out. And then we see through how baseball really does work by using statistics, and see a guy like Carl Schwarber bats 200, and he's in the running for the MVP because he knows he's always on base. So the game has changed. To how we look and view the game, he's not. He may swing and miss. He may strike out a lot, but he hits 50 home runs and then he walks a ton, so he's always on base. And
yeah.
and that game is just changing. You know.
I'll tell you what. To wrap this up, I'll cut you a deal. I'll let you have your instant replay and your pitcher's clock and the limit the balls to first. You give me back ABS, and we'll call it a day.
And I'll give you your $15 tennis ball size can of beer and a $7 lukewarm hot dog. as a
Yeah,
bonus.
that sounds like a meal to me, just just so you know. But thanks, Holly, for I knew it would be interesting today. I like how we controlled our nostalgia because we can get carried away. But but yeah, I still think some of this is going to impact the nostalgia. But it's been a good talk today. I'm glad we took the time.
It was a good time, always a good time, Mitch, and have a great week.
Yeah, and by the way, we'd like to thank everybody for sticking around with this for this long, and
Oh,
for also for this many episodes because we're nearing 200. And looks like you got a point to make.
I think, don't you have a store?
Thank you for the for the awkward segue. Yes, because I was just going to go there. Mitch has a store, and Mitch has an updated webpage at mitchwonders.com. And I promise I'll stop pointing this out one day. But if you go to the store, number one, I just sent my little sister the Mitch Wonders book, and she enjoyed it. She read it just yesterday.
You think
But
she did, or she just, I've
either
read it.
way,
I've read it several times. I still have it.
but
I still
it,
have it.
I shudder to think that it might be in her bathroom, but still. But if you go to, there's a nice view. But if you go to the mitchwonders.com, you'll see a hot button at the top will take you straight to the book. A hot button at the top will take you to barbecue reviews, whiskey reviews, and also to the merch store. And if you get into the merch store, you can see there's one item in there that's designed specifically. Every penny of that shirt goes to support the National Veterans Foundation, run by veterans, tailor-made for veterans. So if you want to purchase that shirt and help support our veterans and in a roundabout way help support Mitch Wonders, by golly, we sure would appreciate it. But again, Holly, thank you. And
No
it's been
personal
fun.
checks, though. No personal checks.
I, and again, Holly doesn't speak for the program. So if you want to fire off a personal. All right, Holly, till next time, my friend.
Adios.